Hello YouTube artist! I wanted to share this book, what I'm doing in my sketchbook, and what it's already inspired me to grab. Hold on, this is going to be a fun one. I first saw this book by the YouTube artist Jolie Poe, P-O-A. She has a beautiful YouTube channel, and when I saw this little book that she was reviewing, I knew I had to have it because of my love of little vintage things. I mean, look at what the bouquet is in. That's her hand, so you see how small that is. I just really love that for the small cuteness, enchantment kind of vibe that it already has for me. And I'm just like, yes, let me get this book and see what I can do with it. You know, I'm not really a flower person. I am a nature person. So it's interesting what I'm going through as I'm going through this book. Let me share with you the book first and then how I'm using the book. So I'm going to put aside my sketchbook at this moment. This is the Little Flower Recipe Book by Jill Rizzo. And it is really lovely. She talks about making your own bouquets, what to gather, how to put them together, and I'm just inspired by the tiny creations. The photography is beautiful. I mean, look at that. Look at all the different flowers. She's got them according to spring, summer, autumn, and winter. She talks about making them. Look how cute they are. They're just so small. I love that. She does a lot of little bouquets, but in some of them, she talks about then the ingredients that she's using, and she'll show you. And that's what I've really found inspiring, because a lot of these things, my garden grows in the springtime, and it's given me fun thoughts already, like, oh, when this first comes up, I need to start collecting some of these, or take the time to run out there and grab a few and then come in and do a couple setups of my own. The photography is beautiful. Look at that. And you can see the bulbs there. She's cutting little bitty leaves. I mean, look at it. It's just like a house plant, right? What she does with it. Look how she's tied them all in little bouquets. There's a whole chapter on flower press and everything. And I really like that she's kind of taking us through her process, not just showing it finished, but showing us as she goes along. I really like that a lot. Here's some of the tools she used. Here's some of the vessels. Look how small some of them are. So consider that's probably a normal size vase, and look how tiny some of these are. I really love the tiny ones. I love this little pot over here. Look at this little flat guy. Isn't that neat? And this page made me start thinking about all the little antique collectibles that I gather and curate and that I have. And I'm like, you know, I need to start looking for some little vessels, and I will show you what I've gathered so far at the end of this video here. So let me show you some of the little beautiful arrangements that she's done for us here. Isn't it cute? I love that she's showing you her hand for the scale of that. So it's, you know, this tiny. I mean, hold that in your hand and you're like, wow, that's little. She talks about the spring, what she gathers. You can see if she has something like this, a lot of times she'll have what she used on this page. And I really like that because it lets me see what the flowers actually are. And a lot of times she talks about them. Like here, she's gotten all of this little plants, but then she's got what she used here. And this is setting my creative muse, right? It's like, ooh, let's go out to the garden and see what we can find. Let's go out to the yard and see what we can find. You know, I'm going to be doing a setup like this with some tiny leaves because I'm already gathering little tiny leaves and acorns just so that I can find something in there. Mine will probably look like more seed pods and flower ends and things like that, because I do love the greenery, but you know, for me, I really love the dried things a little bit more, the fallish coloration of things. And this is August now as I'm taping it, so I'm looking forward to experimenting with this book and then seeing what I can do with it in the fall when the seed pods are out and all of the remains of the flowers. And they just are more beautiful every time I go. I mean, look at this tiny one, you guys. Look how tiny. They're just delightful. I mean, I love that this came from all of this, but yet you get to see, and she tells you what each plant is. I love that so much. So let me just kind of flip through here so that you can see what's happening. She's got wreaths. She talks about different vases. She uses some tin cans. Look at the wreath with the herbs, but then she's also got little like bouquets. Gorgeous. The colors are all lovely. They're all a little different. Look, this is just done with fern leaves. You can see here, it's just twigs, twine, and some ferns. I love that. I need to have that hanging in my studio for sure. Little terrariums. Look at that. Just greenery. I love that. So you can see it's just tiny enchanted treasures. Look at all the colors there. Just beautiful. I am so inspired just by flipping through these pages, and I'm amazed at what she was able to do in these tiny vessels. Some of them is big. I mean, look how small that is. That's like thimble size. I'm just totally amazed at what people do to come up with beautiful things to put in our life. So let me show you how I'm using this book for right now, because I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to fit into my life. So in my sketchbook here, I am using a little golden book. This is from Deanna on Etsy, and I just love this book. I looked for something that would remind me of the enchantment of this book. And when I remembered that I got the Peter Rabbit tail, I was like, yes, I need to use this book. It's got Fabriano Studio cold press watercolor paper in it, and I absolutely love it. That's my favorite paper. So let me show you how I'm using this. I am right now going through and coming up with what I want to paint. So I am starting with this one here. So this little guy, I just really wanted to try painting this because I don't usually do florals, but I wanted to see what I could come up with. And this is what I came up with. Now I was more inspired by the red, white, and blue. I didn't really like these daffodils, so I just left them off. You know, it's my book. I can do what I want, right? But I loved the layering in there, and I wanted to see if I could make that work in my painting. So that is what I did here. Are they perfect? No. But I love how it made me work, because I did the vase first, and then I worked from forward to backward. That is how I thought that I could do it the best. I thought I'll work with the pansy first and then add the dark blue behind it and then add the white and then add these on the side. That's kind of how I broke it down for myself. Let me see if I can bring this closer to you. And you can see I'm really proud of myself. Is it perfect? No, but this gives me something to look at and compare and be like, okay, I'm starting to understand now the size and how I can get things inside of it, which is part of why I love this book, is I love the tiny size and all of the things she puts inside of the vessel. So then from here, I really like the bleeding hearts because we have bleeding hearts in the spring. And when I looked at the next page, she had some bleeding hearts laying down in the photograph, and I really like that. So I picked like a stem of them, and then I did bleeding hearts because I want to remind myself that we grow bleeding hearts. In fact, they are right outside my studio window in the springtime, so I get to see them. I've got a lot of pictures of them, but this reminds me to go grab a couple and use them. And I really loved that I have the connection of this in my own garden. So from here, I was like, what can I relate to the most? And it was the bleeding hearts. And I love that picture there. The next picture was this. I really liked the, how do I want to say that? Like the elongation going this way of the flowers. Remember, a tiny vase, but then you've got this huge spread. So think about, you know, here's the vase. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost 4.5 vases across, but yet it's squished. Look how tall. 1, 2, and about a half. I love just the area that this piece took up, but I also love the airiness. I love that she's got a big white cluster of flowers here that are very full, but then everything else is kind of spiky out there. And when I did this first, I sketched it on one page. So at first I had it on one page here, and it just didn't give me the elongation feel. So then I put it on 2 pages, and I love this. So I put the vase right next to kind of the seam here, and then I just had fun pulling out the flowers. And I love the contrast of the dark and the light here, especially on the white paper. I really enjoyed getting the texture of the vase. It had this little white line up here, a little white line on the edge, and it had kind of a dome top. It reminded me of almost like a salt and pepper shaker. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what I think of because I've collected a few of those. And I just love the darkness of the purples in here and the variety of the buds being open. So that one's closed, this one is opening, and this one is full bloom. So I enjoyed seeing the process there. So that was the original, and then this was mine. And I am writing the page numbers on here, so you can see here in the corner I've got page 27. That way I can remember where I got this from and what book it was from. And I will be putting on the cover page here, I will be writing Little Flowers, the book, and then the palette that I used, which is my studio palette. And again, this is alliums. We have alliums throughout the summer, and it's a way for me to go out and pick some when they are at the seed version, but up and coming in the little buds too. Look at how cute the little buds are. I really like that. And then we've got this little one. Isn't that charming? This reminded me of the Queen Anne's lace. We have that blooming right now. It's kind of a weed, but I absolutely love it. And so I was thinking right away that, oh, I need to go grab some Queen Anne's lace. And then these little seeds hanging here, or little flowers, those are from Solomon's seal. And this is what Solomon's seal looks like, and we actually have this in the yard. I didn't know what it was called, but we have these variegated leaves, and then they do have these tiny little blooms there. Let me bring that up so you can see that. Aren't those leaves fantastic? So finding this, I was already like, okay, I've got Queen Anne's lace, I've got Solomon's seal, I can do this one. So this is what this one looks like. This is what this turned out to look like. Oops, I'm a little too big there. I shrink it just a little. There we go. So you can see, I even forgot the white flowers up there. Look at that. I was so enthralled with the greenery here that I forgot the white. I need to go back and fix that. So on this one, I worked kind of backwards. I wanted to get the different greens in there first because I love the dark green up here. And then you see how like light green, but then in here she's got a lot of shadows of these leaves. And then there's a dark blue cluster here. And I left out all these purple little plants here, but I did leave the big purple flower there. But I liked combining this. And this one too, I love the fullness here, but then it's got all these different spikes going that way. You can see this area versus this one versus that one are totally different. And if I was to arrange a flower bouquet like that, I don't know that I would have 3 different areas. I would probably make them more all the same flower. And that really gave me kind of the freedom to like anything goes as long as you are happy with the way that it's composed. Because I do like the way it kind of sweeps in and around like that. Can you see it's almost like a giant C here? And I love that. I also liked that she chose a very light vase that kind of disappeared in the background. So you really got to focus on these flowers. And I really, really love that. And then for me to remind myself of the Solomon seal and that little page here, I did my own Solomon seals here so that I would remember that we have these in the yard to take pictures of them at every stage and bring some in to study, because I like to look at them firsthand, up close, grab all the details that I want, and try to match the real colors that I'm seeing from them in nature. So that turned into that. I've got one more here. This page here, I fell in love with this vase. Look at this vessel, you guys. Let me bring that closer. Isn't that gorgeous? It's glass, it's segmented, but it's such a beautiful color. And I love the white highlights. You can see there she is in the picture. See her taking her picture. That's her head in the photograph. So whatever light she's in, she's blocking it. And I love that. I'm not a huge daffodil painter fan because I find them really hard to do for myself. We have a lot of daffodils though. Again, right outside my window in the springtime, we have hundreds of bulbs of daffodils, if not thousands, because we're in the woodlands and there are daffodils and jonquils and paper whites all over our woods. So here is my take on this. And again, I chose this flower, and this little area. I didn't want any tall ones. I wanted to kind of keep it short and like, think about the size of this vase to the top here. I wanted it to be fairly intimate, more intimate than have something so elongated like that. And here is my version of that. And I tried really hard to make this look glass-like. And I think I achieved it pretty well. I need to probably go a little darker to get it to illuminate like this one does. And you can see that I really don't have any white areas like this. But I did leave the seams of the glass. So as I drew the individual rows, I left a little space in between so that I would have kind of that white veining that she had there. I really love that on the vase. And I love these two here that are just kind of falling down, and they almost look like they're on their way out. And of course I was entangled in all of this, the way it leaned and the darkness of the tail up here and just the thinness of the daffodil. I really love those two. And then I just had fun with these. I like that the little stem stuck up here. You can see it right up here. And I changed the white petals to yellow so that I could see them a little better, but I did leave this one white. You can see it here. And then I tucked a little yellow down there so that I would have it. But I'm pretty pleased with the way that it came out for trying to figure out the glass to give me that etherealness, because that's kind of what I feel like that it's like, it almost seems like a hand-blown glass, and it's just so pretty. And I can imagine finding that and being very delicate when I picked it up, because it does look so fragile. But I really like the way that that turned out. And then of course she had all of these daffodils on this page, and I have daffodils all over the yard, so I decided to just pick one. And my favorite part about the daffodil is the paper, the little brown paper that's on the daffodil. So I decided to add that in the back here. Can you see that little brown area? That is probably my favorite part of the daffodil. I know, it's crazy, but I like the heaviness of the stem up there, and I like that it's kind of jointed and then goes down to a really long one. But I think that makes a really beautiful page spread. And again, it reminds me to go look at the daffodils when they come out, because I've got really tiny ones and I've got really huge ones. So I need to do a little study with that. So that is my book so far, my sketchbook. But let me show you what else this has inspired. Because like I said, I am loving the enchanted feeling of this book and what that does to me. Again, the little flower recipe book. And I want to show you what I've collected the last 3 weeks in the antique malls. So I saw this little pinched clay vessel, and look how small. I just think that this would look really charming, especially with just the ferns. I think would look great in this. And I love the little texture of the vase. Look how beautiful it is. So not only is the vase or the vessel beautiful, but having ferns and natural greens come out of it, like she had some of the terrarium, I thought that would look really lovely in this piece. I've got this old wooden top that has a hole in it, and I'm just imagining it could lay down like this and have some flowers, but it can always stand up as well and have, like, think of a couple pansies coming out of there. I just think that that would look really charming. I could even put it on its top like this and have them come out this way. I think that would look really kind of cute. I found this old little creamer. Look how beautiful. It's heavy. It almost feels like a crock because, I mean, look how thick the walls are there. But I love the delicate nature of the pattern going around it. And again, it's small. It's not as tiny as her stuff, but it's small for mine. And I think this would look really great with the Queen Anne's lace because they're white and green. And I could probably stick a couple oak leaves in there, and that would make a really, really beautiful bouquet in there. And then I found this little glass with this metal piece. Isn't this great for the handle? It's a metal piece, and then it's got a little handle like that, and it's almost like a shot glass, which, isn't that beautiful? So I don't know what I will put in there, but I was thinking even just filling this with some marbles or different colored acorns would look cool, some different colored rocks, just stuffing them in the bottom and maybe having a couple twigs or a leaf come out. I just like the idea of this silver part being shown and showcase something in here. I really was impressed with this find. And then this last one, you guys, is so cute. Look at this. It's a little plant holder. It's a dog. But look I could stick a little plant in there, and you could see, just here's my fingers and thumbs. Look how close they are together. I mean, it's just so adorable. So I'm already thinking, what can I put in here come the fall? I think it will look great with oranges and some yellow leaves and some orange leaves, especially with his cute little face. Look at his cute face. So that's how this book has me thinking, is it has me thinking in three-dimensional things because of just the opportunity of making something so beautiful out of something so small. It has my creative side going crazy with possibilities. Who knew the Little Flower Recipe book would get me into my sketchbook, painting flowers, but also have me collecting the most charming little vessels I can find. If you were inspired by today's little enchanted book, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.